I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you test questions on polynomials. We'll actually solve two polynomial equations in this particular video. We need to find exact roots and describe their nature. So here we have 0 equals to 27 plus x cubed times 4x plus x squared times minus 16 minus x squared times 3 minus x squared. You can always pause the video, copy this question, and then look into my solution. The other question which we are going to solve is here, which is x to the power of 4 equals to 8x. Okay, now let me begin with this second question and then we'll move on to the first. Right. So we have here x to the power of 4 equals to 8x. It's a good idea to bring it on the left side, keeping the coefficient of higher degree positive. That is, I think, a very important strategy. So that, okay, word of caution here is do not cancel x from both sides. If you do that, you lose a solution x equals to 0. Do you understand? That is a very important solution which you may miss. So this is an important note. I hope you appreciate it. So let's continue with the solution. What we have here is x to the power 4 minus 8x equals to 0. Now we can take x common. So we get x cubed minus 8 equals to 0. 8 is equals to 2 cubed. So basically we have an equation of the form a cubed minus b cubed, right? So we have a cubed minus b cubed, and the formula to factor is a minus b times a square plus ab plus b square, right? So we'll apply this formula here, factor it further. So we get here x times x minus 2 times x squared. So 8 is 2 cubed, right? Remember that. So 2x, I should have written that here like this, plus 2 squared, which is 4, equals to 0, right? This is because, let me write down, this is because we have written the equation as x cubed minus 2 cubed. Do you see that? Equals to 0. So we wrote 8 as 2 cubed and applied this formula and got the result. Okay. Now from this result, always you should know this is never negative, never 0. This is never 0, right? It is always positive. This part is always greater than 0. So the only possible solutions from the first two factors, correct? So we have two possible solutions. One is x equals to 0. The other is x minus 2 equals to 0. X minus 2, 0 equals means x equals to 2. Is that okay? So these are the two roots which we get in this particular case. The question here is find exact roots and describe their nature. So now let's write down the answer very clearly in this space. So our answer is, or should be written as, the two roots are linear. That is very important. Both are linear. In our case, do you see that? Both are linear. Now, if you kind of sketch it, okay, let me show you that part also. It's important to understand these concepts. So what we have here is two particular roots, degree 4. So the function will go through 0 and something like this. Is it okay? Like this. So the two roots are linear. The graph cross x-intercept like a line. So when you say linear, that means their order is 1, right? So find exact roots and describe their nature. So the exact roots are, the two roots are linear, the graph cross x-intercept like a line, right? And the roots are, I should have written that first, exact roots are x equals to 0 and x equals to 2, right? 0 and 2. Does it make sense to you? So that is how it should be described. correct? And now let's take up the earlier question with the polynomial function written in factored form. Purposely, we have given, different variety of factors so that we can discuss type of roots, correct? The first one is sum of cubes, and here we can factor out x. In this case, we can have difference of squares, possibly. Let's see. Here we have difference of square. Okay, so when you have an equation something like this, it's better to take away these negative terms and put them in a way which we are very familiar to look at. So 27 plus x cubed could be written as 3 cubed plus x cubed, right? Okay. Now here 4x plus x squared, I could always factor x. So let me factor x and write this as 4 plus x. Is that okay? Now in this particular case, we could factor negative. So if I take away negative, I'm putting negative now here. And if I take away negative, both become positive, right? So it's better to write as x squared plus 16. In this case also, it is better to write negative can be factored out. So if I factor negative, this becomes positive. Do you see that? And what I get here is x squared minus 3. Now this is a very critical step. We have kind of simplified our equation more than what it was given to us as. So what we get here is something like this. Let's write down the term x first. So I'm taking this term first. Now this is difference of cubes, right? A cube plus b cube. So I could write this as, let me write x plus 3. Think it is x cube plus 3 cube, okay? And then we have x squared plus 3x plus 9. So we have factored this one. We have already taken care of x. Now we have x plus 4. It's better to write x first. X squared plus 16 cannot be factored. So just keep it as such. And x squared minus 3, you could write this as x plus square root 3 times x minus square root 3. Does it make sense to you? So we have applied difference of squares in this case. So, and here we have applied sum of cubes. So the two formulas which we applied are a cube plus b cube equals to a plus b times a square plus, I should say, minus ab. I have done a mistake. Plus b square. So that's good. We found our mistake. Okay. So minus ab, right? That's one formula. And the other formula we have applied is a square minus b square equals to a plus b times a minus b. Correct? So once you have applied these formulas, you should know that these factors which you get, they do not have 0. Is that okay? This also does not have a 0. But all other factors will lead to zeros. So let's find the exact roots now. Let's find the exact roots. So you get a root because of the x. So we have x equals to 0. From the first factor, we have x plus 3 equals to 0. That means x equals to minus 3. Then we have x plus 4 equals to 0. X equals to minus 4. We have x plus square root 3 equals to 0. That means x equals to minus square root 3. And the last one is x minus square root 3 equals to 0. That means x equals to square root 3. Right? So these are all the roots. And let's write down their multiplicity or order. Sometimes we call order. Now in this particular case, they are all linear, right? This is linear. We normally write 1, right? So all orders are 1. So they will cross the graph of the function at these points. So since they are all linear, at each root, curve of the function will cross the x-intercept like a line, right? Changing sign of the function. So it may go from positive to negative, negative to positive, and so on. And if you want to be very specific, you can kind of sketch it and then add that value to your answer. I hope that helps to understand how to solve polynomial equations and also how to describe your roots of the polynomial equation. Feel free to post your questions and suggestions, subscribe to my videos, and like if you like. Thank you and all the best.